Have you ever thought about creating your own information products, but you didn't think you had the time? Well, in this video, I'm going to walk you through the 3 keys that will allow you to pump out some profitable info products in your spare time. Now, anyone who has some experience and expertise in their market can do this. But first, let's look at what an info product is and why you'd want to create these digital solutions in the first place. So what is an info product? Well, an info product is digital information that solves a pressing problem. So examples include things like ebooks, online courses, checklists, templates, email challenges, membership sites, really typically things that you would sell online, often as downloads. But why are people so hot on these info products in the first place? What's the big deal? Well, for one thing, they just don't cost that much to create. There's very little overhead, and you can produce them very quickly. You also get to reach a wider audience than when you're just working one-to-one with people. It'll show you as an expert. People think someone who publishes information is an expert. And there's that nice little side benefit of some passive income that you could earn while you're doing some other things. However, info products still take some time to create, and you're not going to want to stop with just one. You're going to want to build a whole library. And the most effective way to get it done is to have a system that involves fast info product creation and publishing. Now, as I said, speed is essential, but you still need to create high value products your audience is going to pay for. How can you do that? How can you create info products quickly and that are still valuable? Well, there are 3 keys to creating them quickly and profitably. The first one is to focus on problems. See, the value in an info product is solving a very specific problem. And the more pressing the problem, the higher the value. So how do you figure out what these problems are? Well, first, you really need to get to know your potential buyer in depth so that you can identify their problems and then offer them a viable solution. To do that, create a target buyer profile. And that's where you're going to look at your demographics of your target buyer. So who is your customer? What are their education, earnings? Where do they live? Things like that. And then the psychographics, which are things like what are their values? What are their typical challenges and needs? How do they feel about different things? What are their attitudes? Those types of things. So create that target buyer profile, and then you'll be able to identify a problem you can solve, but one that uses your expertise, not just any problem, because they will have a lot. And along the way, look at their learning modes or preferences. How do they like to learn? What content format and style is best for them and that they prefer? This is what's going to determine what format your info product should be in. But then there's still the question of where all the content's going to come from, and that brings us to key number 2, leverage your content assets. Because after all, the whole idea of creating these info products sounds pretty daunting when you're busy with other things, and there is still content to create. But the secret to success and speed is repurposing your other content. So you do have other content already if you've been in business and you already have some expertise. It's on your hard drive, on your website, in your video archives, and of course in your head. It's all there. This is what successful marketers do all the time. You need to look for ways to use your existing content by adapting it, updating it, changing it to a different format, enlarging it, or condensing it even, bundling things together and generally using it in different ways. So finally, that brings us to the 3rd key to quickly pumping out profitable info products. And I'm going to cover that in part 2 of this video series. Stay tuned.